Well, Cynthia, it's certainly been a frustrating day for many Ontario residents who just became eligible for vaccines. For instance, special education workers across the province who tell us their appointments are either being cancelled or they're not able to book until the end of the month. And public health units say it comes down to a lack of supply. Under pressure to inoculate essential workers, the Ford government promised that special education staff across Ontario, as well as teachers in Toronto and Peel's hotspots, would be eligible for a COVID-19 vaccine starting today. But numerous teachers tell us when they tried to book an appointment online early this morning, there weren't any spots available.
Educational workers weren't even an option in the priority groups through the list.
Shannon Greaves is a special education worker in Durham Region, so even when schools are closed for in-person learning, she and her students go in. She was looking forward to getting the shot, an extra layer of protection as cases in the community skyrocket.
So Ford is making all these great plans and writing all these great plans, but then on the back end forgetting to, cross his T's and dot his I's, and it's really frustrating.
Public health units say the government didn't provide them with any additional vaccine supply to accommodate education workers.
It is extremely frustrating and so disrespectful to education workers. This government needs to act instead of just making announcements.
In York Region, supply issues have even forced the closure of 4 clinics this week, including the drive-through site at Wonderland. The region's medical officer of health says they were able to open up 4,000 spots for special education workers, but it comes at a cost.
Did you have to reallocate from another group in order to accommodate the education workers?
Unfortunately, we had actually wanted to drop down to the 60-plus group in York Region, and that, unfortunately, we've had to delay.
But Ontario's Liberals say prioritizing education workers over other groups is the right call, with leader Stephen Del Duca calling for a vaccine blitz at schools this week.
There are still several days in this April break, and so I am urging Doug Ford to do the right thing.
The Premier and Education Minister say they're relying on more supply from the federal government.
As we get more supply, I assure every worker within our schools and our childcare settings, we're going to work around the clock to get them into your arms.
You start making your way? That would be fantastic.
Meantime, in Toronto, the city opened its final 3 mass vaccination clinics today in Etobicoke, Eglinton Lawrence, and Humber River Black Creek, bringing the total to 9 and giving Toronto the capacity to administer more than 56,000 doses a week at city-run clinics alone. And we're at one of those mass clinics right now. I can tell you there's been a steady stream of people here lined up for their shots, and someone actually just came up to me to tell me it's been a really smooth process. And just breaking down some of the numbers, the Premier says 2.8 million appointments are currently booked at clinics, hospitals, and pharmacies across the province, and there are 900,000 vaccines in freezers. The target is to get shots into the arms of 40% of adults in Ontario by the end of the 4-week stay-at-home order. And if you have had any trouble finding details on how to get your vaccine in the GTA, head to citynews.ca, where we have put together a guide on where, when, and how to get the shot. If you point your camera at the screen, it will take you directly to the webpage.